No doubt about it, but you shouldn't let the stigma of divorce hold you back from doing what's right for you and your family. Here to talk to us is Gabrielle Hartley, divorce coach and mediation expert. Gabrielle, there is a lot of shame still associated with divorce, even though, I don't know, what do they say now? Half of couples seek divorce these days?
About 50% of all couples have either been divorced, or their parents are divorced, or a good friend or a family member has been divorced, but yet there's still so much stigma and shame attached to it, which is unfortunate because we shouldn't go through our lives feeling bad about ourselves because our relationship didn't work out.
Yep, and there are a lot of reasons why that relationship possibly didn't work out. What should somebody do if they're kind of feeling this shame?
Well, the first thing is that presumably before you decided to get divorced, you've done a really good look at your relationship and you've worked as hard as you possibly can to make things work. But then to recognize that you're human and there's so many different ways that we are successful in our lives and ways that we fail, and we can grow from the things that don't work out. I would really do a lot to shelter myself from people and circumstances that would make me feel bad about the breakup, and just know that you will be okay as you move forward. And presumably the reason that you are separating is so that the rest of your life will be better, so that you'll feel happier, more at ease, and more at peace with yourself and the world around you.
So you mentioned sheltering. What about social situations? How do you tackle those, especially if there's a lot of shared friends in the mix?
Yeah, and so what I would say about that is to do that really gingerly and carefully and mindfully. I wouldn't overshare with too many people in the beginning. Take things slowly and start to share once you and your ex are on the same page about how things are going to move forward. You know, vulnerability is a big topic these days, and being vulnerable is great, and I would encourage people to seek a counselor or a therapist and to confide into trusted people, but you don't want your life to become playground gossip either.
Certainly not. So that's really good advice, though, for you and your spouse to get on the same page. And maybe even, do you suggest rolling this out together?
If it's possible, I would say so, but in many circumstances that's actually not possible. And if that's the case, I would just say to keep your own emotions safe, do things mindfully and carefully. I wouldn't put out a big email blast unless you're really ready for people to come over and say, hey, I heard your news. And be prepared that even if you're actually feeling great about your choice, it was probably a hard choice to arrive at, and be prepared for people to email, oh, so sorry, or hugs, and you might not need that, and it might feel like people aren't really understanding you. So the greatest thing that you can do is to be kind to yourself through this process.
Yeah, and forgive yourself for maybe not having a perfect marriage, because nobody is perfect. Let's briefly touch upon the social media aspect, though. Facebook posts, Instagram, changing your status. I mean, what do you recommend for people in this area?
Yeah, so what I would say about that is to, as much as you possibly can, just completely get off of social media during the 6 months to 1 year period. And I know, especially for younger people, that's a really big thing to ask. But social media is not going to bring any joy to you or to your spouse. There's so much innuendo, there's so much reading in. Like, even if you just post an innocent picture of you and your girlfriends out one night, and if somebody writes, oh, you know, you were looking so hot, or something like that, your ex might read that to mean a whole other thing, and that could actually adversely impact the way that your ex starts to treat you, or it could have an actual financial outcome in your separation agreement and how things roll forward for you and for your family. So I would really do all that I could
to stay off
social media.
Great advice. Stay off of social media.
And not to block your ex, but just get off of it. Also, to exercise as much self-control as you possibly can around looking at what your ex is up to, because remember, the way things appear often aren't as they are, and our imaginations can be quite wild.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Such great advice. Don't forget to see these tips again. Visit our website, mymassappeal.com.